Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and DiscoveringBands.com, and for everyone watching, feature this video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm here with Bow Ever Down. How you doing today?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
hey, how's it going?
Great to have you back on.
Good to be back.
Absolutely.
Your new album, Let It Burn, is incredible, and I was wondering how long were you working on that for?
Oh, John, what would you say? About 8 months?
About 8 months, yeah. Yeah,
Yep,
give or
back and
take.
forth.
Awesome, and it's got a like heavier industrial vibe to it. What made you go in that direction?
Well, here we go. Let me start. Because, we talked about this last time, how Bow Ever Down's been around since 1998, and I had my years all backwards, so I think I aged you a little bit. But I think you caught me in 2009.
Yes.
But it's been a rough road, a lot of ups and downs. 2003, we were doing really well. The person in my band just walked off. 2009, got it back together. Didn't have really the best people surrounding me. They didn't have the project's best interest in mind. So in 2009, I kind of just walked. And 2020, I came back with Lost in the Woods, which we talked about last year. And I feel I was really alone on that album. It was my first time back. Couldn't really find a really great producer at that time. I was brand new, and the album kind of flopped, but I learned so much from it. So this time around, I was like, well, I'm either going to stay lost in those woods, or I'm just going to set things on fire. And I'm going to work with some epic people, but I had no idea who. The first person to come to me was Wes from Silence the Machine. And he was the first person to work with me. And from there, John started talking to me. He was going to add some guitars, but it ended up he just took over producing the album, and he did such a wonderful job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, he definitely earned it. And the album was so good that I was like, we need to collaborate. And that's how all those remixes came into play, because I was so proud of the album. So yeah, it's definitely heavier. That's all him. More industrial vibe, back to the roots. It's back to the roots, but still something kind of different. So, and that's all him.
And tell us about the symbol with the cat and the fire. What does that mean?
I think there was a lot of like cat type stuff and out in the woods from the last album. And so that carried over to, because I had a cat mask in one of the pictures. So I was like, all right, I'm going to carry that over. But this cat's not lost in the woods anymore. Like this cat's going to burn it down. So that was the whole thing. Because this album's about just lifting yourself up. And it's like, yes, life throws us things. There's bombs going off every avenue, but you've got to stand up, dust it off, and get back out there and just let it burn. So that's the whole momentum behind this album.
Yeah, it's a great theme.
Yeah, it's a lot of fire. Every time I send him a track, I'm like, okay. There's like ashes. There's one more fire, just one more. But I promise that's it with the fire. But there's a lot of fire on the album,
There's
right?
a lot of fire.
Like one more. Lots of flames. Yeah.
A lot of the tracks sound like they could be like club hits too.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was working also with other people and, working with Miss Suicide. Oh, the first time we got that track back, I was just like floored.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our mouth wide open. I mean, he makes some dance hits that when we got that back, I was like, wow. So the album has so much variety. There's the beginning tracks, which me and John did first, and that kind of has some guitar in it and kind of KMFDM type kind of stuff. And then the second half of the album is all remixes, and that's where you get out on the dance floor. So it kind of ebbs and flows, and there's a bit of everything.
Yeah.
And do you think this opens up doors for future collaborations then for your next projects?
Oh yeah, well,
Absolutely.
John can't go anywhere because I was already like, I'm gonna lock you in a basement. I'm just gonna, because you can't leave. But of course, John, he's like a part of the band now, and he can't go anywhere. And I'd like to collaborate with the people we did collaborate with. I mean, they were just so amazing. I'd like to add in the Insect Machine because he's really good too, and I'm sure John has some ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was big fun. I mean, the collaboration and the remixes that the other people brought to it, was really amazing to me because having been so close to the material and then to hear somebody else's take on it was really inspiring because on several moments on almost every one of the remixes, I was like, damn, I should have thought of that. Like, why didn't I think of that? That's brilliant. So it's really the collaboration side is just great, and that's one of the things that technology, I think is made better than, you know, when Kim and I first met, you know, several years back. You know, we were playing in different bands, and you know, I was always a fan. Loved Bow Ever Down. They were always one of my favorite bands to do shows with, and you know, the ability to now, you know, she can live in Maine. I'm down here in Jersey. We can collaborate on an album, and it's really baffling because several years back, you couldn't do this. You know, you were spending money going in studios, and just it's great. You know, like Suicides in Germany, so it's I don't even know where Assemblage 23 lives. So you know, where Tom lives. I mean, he's
I think he's not far from the woods, but yeah, people were like all over the place. But yeah, that's really interesting because now that I think about it, when everything fell apart, like in 2003, it's because we didn't have this kind of technology. I mean, I couldn't just bounce back, you know, and now this is the first time I'm looking at John face to face. I mean, this was really all, you know, in the computer and sending tracks back and forth all over the place. It's mind-boggling technology, and thank God for it. You know,
it's funny because, come to think of it, we've not even had a phone conversation.
No.
You know, it's been ridiculous amounts of Facebook messaging, email, but really it's just been, you know, it just worked. I'll say the crazy part about it is I've never had such an easy and fun time working on music in my entire life. Like it's just been super. It's like Kim would send a track and I would listen to it and just like, I think I know exactly where this song needs to go. And I was waiting every time I would send her a track. Like I'm like, sooner or later she's going to tell me like, what are you doing? This is completely not what I thought it would be. But I got lucky every time. So it's hopefully the luck holds out for the next album and she doesn't like start throwing things at me virtually.
No, you're not going to see that side because some people have, but no. Yeah, it was magic. I mean, it just fit. And it's funny because my first album was called All the Pieces, but I feel like this is all the pieces now. Even the collaborators, I believe everybody that was there was meant to be there. And, you know, I just love it. And it's like going full circle because I used to open for John when he was in Carfax Abbey. And those were the best times of my life. And we opened for them. And now he's producing the music. So I'm just in awe. Full circle.
We used to invite them to open shows because we just liked seeing the band. So it was an easy way to get to see Bow Ever Down without having to drive all the way up to North Jersey. And, you know, and the thing is, you know, back when we were playing shows in you know, early 2000s, you didn't have so many people on cell phones. I mean, so putting a night together where the bands blended, but they all brought something kind of different, you know, really created a great night. And I think, you know, together, you know, with some other acts, you know, that we played shows with, I think we brought a lot of great nights and events to people back then. So I'm hoping to do something similar now.
It's amazing. You did the whole album together, and this is the first time you guys are talking face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not one, Michael. I'm like so antisocial, and like just before this interview, I'm like, I can't breathe. I gotta put my shoes on. I gotta put my shoes on. I'm a mess. So you know, I love your channel, so I had to do it. But yeah, I'm not one for phones, interviews, all of that. This is a rare thing for me. Yeah. So I'm not one. This is the first time I'm seeing John.
And Kim and I are so similar in that way that. Yeah. Like she's like, do you want? I'm like, no, I don't need to do any interviews. I'm happy being behind the. I'm not a fan. I've never really particularly liked the. I don't mind interviews so much if it's talking to people, but I've never been a fan of, you know. It's kind of like I always just think like, why does anybody want to know what I'm up to? It's like I'm sure people have better things to think about and do, and I've never been a fan of like the photos and the band photos because it's like. I'm kind of a dork, so it's like I don't know how to stand there and look cool. It's like I'm like, you know, some goofball with long hair that, you know, just likes industrial rock music and just.
I'm the same way. Even with doing the music videos I did, I was just like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
And you were brilliant in them, I thought, and I'm like, thank God Kim likes doing these because I would be mortified if I had to.
I did end up like doing. I started doing them. I started doing them because of MTV TV.
Yeah.
Bomb and DJ D42 put together. And it's such a brilliant channel that I was like, I have to do something for this. And that's how my video started. But yeah, just to get something on there.
That channel is brilliant, actually, because I've discovered more crap in the last, like, 2 or 3 weeks of listening to his channel and viewing the videos, and just floored at how much great stuff is out there.
Oh, so much talent.
Like, I'm horrible at remembering names, but I know the title of the song is "I Look Good on You." It's the artist is on Bandcamp, and I know they play the video all the time on MT TV, and I'm like, I love this song. Like, so I actually had to go buy it because like this song, song is just brilliant. Like, it's kind of it reminds me a little bit of the Cars and some like early '80s synth stuff, which I'm a huge fan of. So, but so much great music, like, and some of the real heavier stuff they play in the New Music Hour, just that's like exactly what I love. So, that's I've been upset because the last 2 weeks my day job has been pretty brutal, so I haven't been able to attend, and it's been like I feel like I'm missing out. So I'm looking forward to this week. I'm done the rollout, so I'll be back on this Wednesday. So.
Do you have any plans to play live anytime soon now that the record's out?
For me, I know John plays live with other bands, I think. For me, I think I did my time playing live. I think that, I love the studio. I want to keep belting out those albums, and I love doing videos. To me, video is such a personal thing. Like, I feel like almost like putting videos out is almost like doing a show. Like, you're giving a piece of yourself, a part of yourself. So that seems to be the way I've been flowing lately. Music, videos.
Live is tough, I mean, I can't speak for everywhere around the country, but I know specifically in Philadelphia, it's really kind of sad because I see so many iconic rooms, like, Connie's Rick Rack, which was like a legendary punk room in Philadelphia, and lots of bands just, were, that was like the place for a lot of bands in the hardcore and punk scene to just hang out and play. They just closed. And it's just like one after another. It's every year. It's like I don't even know who's left. Like if I were to go out to play a live show with an original band, I don't even know where you would go play in Philadelphia now because it's so bleak with there's a couple. I mean there's a handful of rooms, and I see some friends in original bands. They were playing a show, but I did a reunion with Carfax. I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And I had been off the original music scene playing live shows for close to 10 years, I guess. And, when I left in 2004, I think it was, it was great. Like the last show I played was a really well-attended show, and people were going nuts and having a great time. So when I came back, I thought, it's just going to be picking up where we left off. And I was it was a disappointing surprise to see, mostly this, like out in the audience, looking at the back of somebody's phone, and people weren't like going crazy. They weren't dancing. They weren't, and that's the one thing I always remembered about the shows back then is seeing people just having a good time. And I thought, man, maybe we're doing something wrong because people just don't look like they're having a good time. They're not letting loose and dancing. They're just, I don't even know what, like, it's cool that you're video recording it, but I don't know how many different angles I need to see of myself playing like Cry Little Sister with Carfax Abbey.
Yeah, see that would bother me because I feed off of people. I feed off of them. Yeah.
And they just, and the sad thing was it wasn't really like a younger crowd coming out, I mean, it was awesome because I got to see a lot of old friends I hadn't seen in many years and, that were still out there supporting Carfax. But, where we used to play shows and maybe have, 150, 200 people coming out, we're playing shows now and there's like 35, 40 people coming out. And it's just like, what do you do? I mean, it's hard, and you love playing live shows and you want to play live shows, but even some of the stuff we did with, Patrick from Dancing Ferret, and like you used to get on one of those shows back in the day and you were playing to 2,000, 3,000 people easy.
Oh yeah.
We did his 20th anniversary show, which was great, and he put on, like he always does, he put on a spectacular event and had a lot of great acts. And I mean, there probably was 500-600 people there, and like I thought for sure, like that kind of event, you would have seen 2,000, 3,000 people easy. So but I think people are tuned into videos though now, like you said, Kim. I think it's really people have taken it to a different medium, and I think if you're going to be good in this, you got to kind of you can't fight what the trend is. You know, if people want to see video, then you got to do video. If people don't want to see live shows, then you can't beat them over the head and try to force them to come out and see live shows. At least it's just my completely uneducated 2 cents on it. It could be completely bunk.
Yeah, have you heard of the venue, the Underground Arts in Philadelphia? Because that's where Patrick's going to be doing his new Dracula's Ball event at for Halloween.
I did. That's a nice place, and you know, I you know, if anyone can get the scene kickstarted, it's Patrick. I mean, the guy's a marketing whiz. I mean, he's one of the hardest working guys in the business. He's, you know, he's a rare breed of promoter because he's honest and he's fair and he treats the bands. You know, you play one of his events, I mean, you kind of get a taste on what it's like to feel important, you know, because he makes sure that no matter what, if you're the opening act or the opening act, you know, he treats you, you know, with a lot of care and a lot of quality, and his events are always top notch. So if anyone can help get it kickstarted again, I mean, I think it's Patrick. I mean, I would play one of his events any day of the week.
Oh yeah, I will tell you hands down, the only reason anybody knows about Bow Over Down is Patrick. I mean, I was doing these old clubs back in the day in the back of bars, and Patrick came along, and that's the only reason we ever got anything. So I owe a lot to Patrick Rogers, definitely.
Yeah.
That's how I know of you. I saw you open up for the Coke Shadows. So.
I know. Yeah. Everything was back to Patrick. I mean, I have to give credit where credit's due. It's all him. Any kind of CD we were on, magazine, it was all him. Yep.
So it's funny because I heard of Bow Over Down sort of through Patrick and photographer Kyle Cassidy. And I guess he had, because of Patrick, he did a photo shoot with Bow Over Down.
Yes, he did. And you know how I am with photos, but yes, he did a good one.
Yeah.
You did.
And he was a good friend of Carfax, and I remember him just saying, "Oh man, I heard this fantastic band." You know, I think he said you guys are from New York. He's like, "From up out in New York, like this trip hop gothy type thing, and man, they would be fantastic to play with Carfax." And I'm like, "Who are they?" And you know, he said, "Bow Over Down." I'm like, "Wow, that's a great name." So I don't know if we found you on MySpace. I don't even know how we actually contacted you guys. Like, I don't remember.
It had to be.
It was just like, I remember the first time I heard of you. The first time Kyle showed me the photos, and then somewhere along the way, like, we became friends and we were playing shows together, and it was always a good time to have Bow Over Down, you know, playing shows with Carfax. And but I don't know how it actually happened. Like, I don't know if Patrick made an introduction or if Kyle or if well, I honestly don't remember.
And look, here we are. I'm older than dirt, and here we are still doing it. I never stop until I'm in the grave. You gotta bury me. It was the song on the last album, Bury My Body. Oh, seriously, you gotta dig it up and just throw me in because I'm not done.
You know, it was awesome because, you know, when I left Carfax, you know, I still followed the bands that I liked, you know, like you know, Bow Over Down, Otto's Daughter, 51 Peg, you know, Season of Mourning, Torsion, Tapping the Vein. You know, these are bands I still followed because I was a fan of what they were doing. And I remember when you just kind of disappeared. It was like all of a sudden, like, I seen these pictures of Bow Over Down with some other lady singing, and I'm like, who the hell's this? I'm like, that's not Kim. It's not Bow Over Down if it's not Kim in the band. So I stopped following really at that point, and then you know, and you were really, when you were gone in the woods, you were really gone. Like, you were nowhere to be found. Like, you were just gone. And then it was just bizarre because I got this friend request in Facebook, and I'm like, Kim, like the real Kim, like, she's back, like, holy cow. And
I think I'm real, but you know.
Yeah, and it was I was like, this is brilliant, you know. I mean, finally, you know, new music from Kim. This is great. And
everything you own ends up coming back to you. The people have to remember that what you own, what you're meant to do, doesn't matter how long it takes, it comes back.
Yeah, and I was just like, I got to figure out a way to do some music with Kim. Like, I don't know how to go about doing it, but you know, because I'm probably not aggressive enough that I'm like, hey, you should, you know, let me do your album. Like, she's putting signs, she's like, hey, I need a producer, and I'm like, I could probably do this. I'm like, but I'm probably not good enough, or I probably wouldn't do it right, and she'll be really mad. So I'm like, nah. So I'm like, so I sent her a note and said, hey, if you need any guitar work, just drop me a note. I figured maybe she'll do that. So it's pretty cool.
So since you might not do live shows, what about doing virtual shows or performances? Would you consider that?
I don't know. That's just so, I can't even wrap my head around that. I don't know. And you know what else I was going to say about doing any shows at all? The more you deal with people far away and all over the place, the more complex that becomes. So that's why in my head, it's just like studio, music, video. And I don't know, I'm having a ball with these videos, so we're gonna have to see what I come up with, because I'm gonna be working on another one this weekend out in the woods, actually. So yeah, I've got 2 up right now that are done, the assemblage one, and I've got the other one with Miss Suicide, and there's gonna be another one coming very soon.
Awesome, look forward to that.
Yeah. I don't know how to, I've seen some of those virtual shows that people were putting on, especially when the pandemic was, in full swing. I don't know how it's interesting because I don't know how you would actually pull it off. I mean, it's got to be really tough as far as being in sync, because I know I'm on so many virtual calls throughout the day in my day job, and there's always a bit of a delay. So like when I see these bands like put these compilation videos together, and it's like, man, they either must have like the most amazing internet at home with the best tech to get the best speeds.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know how you would do that, and the crazy thing, truthfully, is like the music is so electronic that it's not really like what I would call like, not that it couldn't be done with a live band, but it's like it would be hard to I think it would be really hard for like a live organic drummer to play, because they would really just be kind of following the basic stuff, and then the people that like to dance to it. I mean, there's a certain sound drums that you have in dance rock music and goth music versus what you hear in like hard rock and metal, and it's a different thing, and it's like, I think the crowd, like it was, when Patrick does his events, we were talking about Patrick. I mean, like the one thing I always thought he did brilliant is like, he never made the band play too long. Like, Carfax, kind of was unique that we could play rock rooms because we were hard rock enough that we can get away playing in metal rooms, and we had enough of a goth industrial flavor that we could play those events. And when we played rock clubs, it was always like an hour set. You played for a solid hour. But when we played like goth industrial nights, it was always like no more than 30 minutes, because people want to hear the DJs. They're as big of a rock star as the bands, and some of them are, I mean, they're just amazing at what they do. So it's almost like you don't want to wear out your welcome. You go on stage, people like it, but you don't want to be there too long, because then they're like,
out, yeah,
like, get out of here. I'm here to DJ. So, and I always thought that his nights ran well like that. He never had the bands. They always kind of, were always around 30, 35 minutes, like on, off, and, the DJs like clockwork right on. So I think you do nights like that, it can work, but it'll be interesting. It's odd you asked that, Michael, because, Kim and I never even talked about doing like a live show.
I know, I've never even seen you till now, so yeah.
Yeah.
I just figured with a new record out, I didn't know if you would be planning a tour or some shows.
Probably not. I'm already thinking about, how long I'm going to promote this album and then on with the next, because I'm just looking to get out music. It was such a long space between doing it, a decade between an album there. So now I'm just hungry to make music, like pump those albums out.
So what's the goal? Maybe an album every 2 years or something?
I think last year on your show, I said my goal is never more than 2 years. So between 1 year and 2, and I had this whole thing set up, because I went through so much bad stuff with the music and depression and losing it and stuff, that I said I'm always going to have an album out on my birthday. So I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to get it done by next June in 1 year, but I don't know if 2 years is too long to wait. So maybe I'll do a fall album, but me and him will have to discuss it. But I would say somewhere between 1 year and 2 years, that would be, optimal. I would love to do that.
And the style of this record, is that what we can expect for the future now? Kind of the sound-wise? Like with the little...
I would say we're going to stay on that. You said you like that, Michael, like
yes,
the industrial.
yes,
Yeah. I would hope that it stays in that realm, and it should, but I'm sure we're going to add some new flavor to it too. But yeah.
Yeah, I hate repeating stuff, as far as I don't want to do the same thing, but I also, what we did together was very natural. Like, I mean, for me writing, some of the music and adding parts, I mean, it was really great, because Kim would send me, her vocal track, and give me enough background, music, some chord changes and a little click track for a tempo. And, the part that was so amazing for me was that she was just like, do whatever you want with it. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing, because, I got this really strong vocal track from a great singer and these powerful lyrics, and you're giving me carte blanche to do what I want. And, and of course, if at any point I sent it to track back and Ken's like, well, I hate this, then I totally would have redone it. But
Never thought that.
It was just very natural. So, I mean, it wasn't, I don't want to sound cheesy, but there was nothing forced about it. Like, most of the time she would send me a track, and then like a week later I'm sending her, like, hey, I think it's done. Unless you hear something that you hate, it's probably done.
Oh, it was like clockwork. Yep.
And, truthfully, I usually never wrote songs like that fast or finished tracks that quickly, but it just was super easy, and it's like she just, creates a great atmosphere, and lyrically, the lyrics are strong enough, and the way she sings them, and delivers the track, it's easy to kind of see, well, this song should go here. Like, some of the stuff that's a little heavier, my take on it was, I think this should be heavy because of what the message what I think she's saying, my perception. So this is how I see it, and I don't talk with words or lyrics. I talk with sound. So I want my sound to say the same thing that her lyrics are saying, and what she's delivering vocally. And so really, yeah, I mean, it'll probably be very similar, but I think the part that I found really fun about, as we were recording this, as we continued, I think each track got better and better and better as we were going through it. And
finding our niche.
Yeah. And one of my favorites was, when Kim said, I want to recut, Glass Doll. And I thought, okay, cool. I remember that song. I had that CD. I mean, I actually had the physical CD of that album. And so I went back and I listened to it, and I'm like, I learned it. I'm playing it on the guitar, and she's like, no. Like, I don't want to just, I want you to do it. I want to do it different.
Something fresh.
So I was like, okay. And it's really kind of a unique thing, because when you're just listening to music, you hear the music and you might hear the lyrics, but when you're working on putting parts together like a song, so, and I got her vocal track and I'm really listening to the lyrics, I'm like, wow, this song is really, really powerful. Like lyrically, this song is super deep, and I wanted to do something different, so I had an idea to use a little bit more orchestration, and I used harp strings, which is that was the first and only time I've ever actually used a harp on a recording, but I just felt like it fit the song for the intro, and I was really happy with how that came out. So, I mean, I think I would like to try to bring in more, I guess, organic instruments, while also maintaining that, fat beat to keep people, for me, it's like it's got to be danceable. Like, I always like the songs that have, people got to be bobbing a head or tapping a foot or shaking a butt or doing something to be enjoying it, I think.
Oh yeah, and what was so great about that is you brought that organic kind of sound to Glass Doll, and then the Suicide came along and pounded it on the floor.
Oh yeah.
So we had like two versions of that. That was epic.
Yeah, and same with his remix of Shed My Skin is just like I'm like, I don't even want to listen to the one that I love his take on it. I was like, this is just like that's a car driving song for me. So that's when I got to run like Home Depot or do something like that. That track gets hit on, and big fun. And it makes me wish I was younger and actually had a golf club and somebody actually played it, because I would be on the dance floor for that. So.
Yeah, right.
And for everyone listening, you have extra bonus tracks on Bandcamp, right?
Oh yes. So Bandcamp is the only place that there's 17 tracks. And that was just because I love Bandcamp so much. I think it supports the artist better than anywhere else. So everywhere else there's only 10 tracks. Bandcamp has 17 tracks. It's only $8. So you're getting a whole bunch of bonus tracks that are not found anywhere else, including most of the remixes that we have.
Yeah, some great stuff. Like, really, I would encourage people to go just take a listen, and if you like it, hopefully, buy it, but, at least just give it a listen, because, some of the folks who did the remixes really did some outstanding work.
Yeah, those are great remixes. Now, if people want to look you up online, find your music, how do they do that in social media?
Okay, well, Bow Her Down is everywhere, including I'm on TikTok now. Don't fully know how to use it, but I'm trying. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The Facebook one says Bow Her Down Official. So there's a few that I don't have control over. They're still up, but the one that I read is Bow Her Down Official. And so we're pretty much, all over the place as far as social media.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to what you have coming up in the future, and it was good talking with you again.
Thank
and everybody,
you.
Up.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Anytime. For everyone watching, I've linked their music in the video description, so check that out.